Hi, I'm Adriana Galinek, your embodiment and relationship coach, and this is my podcast. I spend most of my time reconnecting relationships, diving deep between the land of energy, and helping those couples, ignite that spark back in the bedroom. This podcast is for the universal, spellbinding people who love a little woo-woo and a thunder of truth. You're listening to Love, Sex, and Energy. Let's jump in. Hey, welcome to another episode of Love, Sex and Energy. I'm your host, Adriana Galinek, and today's topic is from one of our amazing listeners, and they had a question. And I'll give you a bit of a summary of the background. They've been living together for a few years now. They've moved interstate, and they are both working long hours within their jobs. And she asked a question said, how do I get my man to put the washing in the basket and not on the floor? Smiley emoji. Well, in actual fact, we know that she's pretty pissed because he's actually done that. Great question. I know a few of you have sent in other ones, but this was so funny because we're all probably having a giggle and we might be all nodding our heads that we have a man that's doing this, but we're allowing that to happen. Dun, dun, dun. And what usually happens is that when you start dating and courting each other and being amazing, you become the doer. I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll do this and I'll do that because it's showing your validation, how much you care for this person, and therefore you're taking more of the job, more of the doing. And they naturally, if you're not complaining about it, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. And in this instance, they're dropping the washing on the floor right next to the basket itself. So that to me is showing laziness. And it's also, he knows that you're going to go and pick it up. He knows that you're going to do it because you're going to do the washing. So what difference is it whether it's in the basket or on the floor next to the washing basket? Now, it may seem like a simple fix. Tell him to pick it up and put it in, because that's what I would recommend. But if you haven't done the background work and you've kind of lost yourselves into communicating this, and this happens often if you've been married for a very long time, been with your partner for a very long time, that at the start we tend to embrace, we tend to be doing everything to win their affection and approval, that we make a great or a perfect mate. We are, if we're doing everything for them, it's showing how loving and kind and gentle and all those things that we are. But it's also fine to pull back and say, hey, I really recommend this during times where you have a time to chat with your partner, and make that specific time where you say, hey, look, I understand we've both been working really hard. I've noticed that you've started to leave your clothes near the basket, not actually in the basket. This is really frustrating to me because it shows me that you're not taking into consideration how I would feel about this. And I know you girls might be going, oh my gosh, it's so lengthy, so many words. Why would you do that? It's because if you're not willing to open up and start communicating with your partner, you start getting angry and you start building up resentment over time. And it can be as simple as, hey, you've left this near the floor. It's showing me, it's actually making me feel like you don't care for all the things that I'm currently doing. It's like another thing I have to do. And if you express that to them, the men will start listening and understanding. You can also say, hey, I don't like the way you've done that. Can you please put it in the basket? And actually, I need some more help. I was going to talk to you about picking up the load at home and start doing the washing. Maybe I can create a timetable for you when you can do that. Because unless you're asking for the help, they just seem to leave everything around thinking that you're their mother. Now, you don't want them thinking that you're their mother, because imagine them visualizing that. The mum does the picking up, the cleaning and the organizing, not your partner. So really think about the type of person you're with and your habits that you've created. Now, this gets really complicated. Add a few kids to the mix. Imagine your worst case scenario. There's twins screaming, bottles needed to be done, and then you turn around, there's a pile of washing next to the basket, might I add, and then you will absolutely flip your lid because, let's be honest, it's another thing that they need to do. So just get on top of that by just saying, hey, can you do this? And if you're not, guys, really start organizing some time where you can actually have these conversations, and they really, really help with your communication skills. It really helps kind of, instead of us getting to the point where you're exploding or feel like you're nagging or whinging or any of the above, if you keep a constant, like once a week, let's try this for 10 minutes. I want to talk about something that's happening. Like this might be one of the things on your list. It might be helping around the house. It might be talking about your feelings, talking about what he has done to create a reaction. After those 10 minutes, you just kind of push it aside and go, okay, we've spoken about it, instead of holding it on all week, all month, and then you start building up. And then what happens is we have this resentful explosion. And then what we do is we go into our pity party and we don't do anything at all. And then we get more chaotic because we created the spinning wheel. Now, let's be honest. Guys out there, pick up your shit and put it in the basket. It's not bloody hard, okay? And I remember when I was married, once upon a time, I was doing everything. I mean, like, I was going to win his affection by cooking and cleaning and ironing and color coding clothing and making sure, to the point where I was going to eliminate thinking for him. That's right, guys. Listen up. I was going to eliminate his thinking, so all he had to do was, if he had to search in the dark, t-shirt and jumper, that it was coordinated. Now, you know what? Moving from that, I know that he did not have any idea that I was even doing this. And he couldn't care less if I had a bunch of clothes thrown in a ball and tucked in the side. Like, it was not his love language. It was not his way of communicating. It was more the fact that I was happy and relaxed and had a great environment where I just wanted to be noticed. I just wanted to be seen. Look how good I am. Like, I'm basically valuing my keep for being a stay-at-home mum. And that was a realization for me where I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't do 5 kids and cleaning and cooking and ironing and organizing and going to work and hoping that he's going to recognize me. So I was looking for validation where all I needed was a validation within myself. So how did I change that around? Well, I still did what I was doing. Obviously, there was no color coding and matching of t-shirts and shorts and all the rest of it. So I started to test this theory. Like, are you listening? Is he paying attention? So I used to do all the washing, and at the end, once I finished doing the washing, I used to put the washing at the end of the bed. And when he came home, because he used to work late, it was still on the bed. Usually I would even have his washing put away, everything in order and organized. So I started eliminating that. By the end of the week, and then turn into weeks, I'm not kidding, those clothes still stayed there until there were piles on the floor of individually washed, folded clothing, until he got the message and he said, oh, I guess I have to put these away now, hey? They've been there long enough. And I remember going, oh, it's totally up to you what you do with your clothes. But yeah, I mean, if you want to put them away, that would be very helpful. I mean, but it doesn't bother me. And I remember my girlfriend saying that would so annoy me, having that just visible there. And yep, absolutely annoyed the bejesus out of me. But it was showing how I trained. It sounds terrible, but how I trained myself to create this environment that everything is perfect and I've got all control over everything. It looks amazing. Things are going great. But I was just a detriment to myself. I was actually creating more work for myself and not feeling the validation that I was a great wife and a great, how we stereotypically look up to. Like, if you're a woman that can look after the man, they would definitely marry you. But men aren't interested in all of that. Yes, they want to be cared for, but they don't really care. And basically, if I just turned around and I said to my then ex-husband, hey, if you just picked up the pieces and started putting your things away, that would help me a lot during the day. It was as simple as that. So simple. So just being able to communicate and using the right tools, it might sound silly now, or it might sound like a stretch, but it really does help. I had another lady write into me and she said, hey Adriana, I was wondering if you can help me. I'm feeling annoyed that my husband saw that there was washing in the wash machine, and he only dried his clothes. And I said, say what? He only dried his clothes. Like, he did not actually consider her, the kids, and I might add she had a baby and newborn, if you know what I mean, that what that feels like, what that looks like. It's absolutely hell, because you're still trying to process how you're functioning for the day. And for me, I think we all take our own personal feelings towards this, especially if you're a stay-at-home mum and you are the carer and you are the giver. The one time that you can actually lean back and take a load off and be vulnerable and spend that time, because you've got so many other things to do, to have your partner just think for themselves is a kind of like a kick in the butt. Like, it's a punch in the stomach to have your partner only think for themselves. So what did I say? How did I suggest it? I actually was a little cunning, and I said, which is terrible, but it's true, kind of like in the same lines, stop doing his washing. Stop doing his washing and leave the pile there until he starts realizing that it's a choice. You are choosing to do the family washing because it helps the family, as he has the choice to do the washing, as it helps the family. It's not we're in it for ourselves, we're doing it for ourselves. And if they want to create that atmosphere, if they cannot think for themselves, then that's perfectly fine. Continue doing on what you're doing for your children and yourself, and leave his pile of clothing to the side. Now, to my dismay, that wasn't going to go too well, because she said, no, I can't do that. That's just not my personality. I couldn't do that. And I said, well, you're just going to have that uncomfortable conversation. Speak to him. You're going to have to say, obviously, when the kids are down, have a chat and say, hey, when you just washed your clothes, it made me feel like you didn't care about me, or you weren't paying attention that I'm struggling and I need some time to myself, or, at that scenario, whatever scenario she was going through at that time, and having that talk. And she did. She worked up the courage, and it's sad that we even have to say that, we worked up the courage to talk to our partners about what it is that we need. And especially if you're not a woman that asks for help, or wanting people to, if you're really confident and you've got full control over your life, why would I ask anyone? Why would I show my vulnerability? Because I can do it all. And it comes to a point in life where you have to start, going with the flow, pulling down your walls, being in that feminine energy of allowing things to happen, but also be brave enough to speak your own truth, to say, hey, I don't like that when that happens. It drives me nuts. I'll give you a personal one. When my now partner Mark, so funny, when we moved in together, how things change. And I was like, I'm going to be on top of this. Like, I'm going to be so super aware of things, always contribute and do things in the family, for the family. And for those who don't know, there are 8 kids and 2 adults, so there's 10, so washing is never ending. And this doesn't have to do with washing, because he doesn't do the washing, but we'll talk about that another time. It's as simple as doing things like putting the pillows. Girls, you're with me, right? You've got lots of pillows on your bed. Visualize pillows everywhere, European pillows. We've got a king size bed. There's lots of pillows on there, but it looks lovely when everything's straightened up. It looks great. And he would go to bed and only put his side of the pillows down and leave mine. And I was getting annoyed. This was going on for a bit. I'm like, how can you do that? Like, I would never do that to you. Like, I was taking it personally that he didn't care for me, or he wasn't acknowledging all the things that I do for him all day. And I remember having a chat and saying exactly that. Like, I feel that when you do that, it makes me feel like I'm irrelevant. Like, you don't care that I would like to sleep with no pillows on the side of my bed. And he said, but you're the one that put all the pillows there in the first place. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know, it looks great. But if you're going to go to bed before me, as I would do, because I usually go to bed before he does, I would always pull the pillows down for him, to make sure that he's comfortable. And I wanted the same. So there is never a moment now where he wouldn't do it. And he also makes the bed religiously every morning, because he's the last one out. And that's so helpful, because it helps me set the mood and the pace for the day. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any more questions, or you want to know some things about how to problem solve your life with your partner, let me know. Happy to help, and shine bright. See ya. And that's it for another episode of Love, Sex and Energy. Connect on all socials at Adriana Galinek. Hit the follow button, share with friends, and if you have some time, write a review. As they say, the energy flows in universal ways, so always remember to shine bright. Till next time, see ya.